Sea champion. In the headlines, monitoring of political conduct has begun. Religious groups seek another tranche of COVID-19 relief. And in news overseas, Venezuela's Supreme Court ousts 2 leaders of opposition parties. With the details, I am Jason Shields. The Council of Responsible Political Behavior has confirmed that it has already begun monitoring the activities of political parties and their stakeholders in the run-up to the 2020 general elections. The Council issued an official statement today reminding all parties to adhere to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct. It outlined that maintaining the highest moral principles with respect to conduct and upholding the integrity of the electoral process. The statement confirmed that with the dissolution of the Parliament automatically on September 23rd, 2020, the general elections must be held before December 23rd, 2020. In other news, several religious bodies have approached the government for a second tranche of funds to provide support to the needy and migrants hit by the COVID-19 restrictions. This is according to Minister of Social Development and Family Services Camille Robinson Regis on Tuesday. The minister also said the ministry has not had any issue with the religious organizations distributing tax-paying funds, noting they were all holding true to the values that they were taught. At the beginning of May, government began distributing $10 million in grants to 14 denominational boards to provide relief to the needy affected by the COVID-19 measures. However, while the faith-based entities have been honest, the minister indicated that there are citizens who have been applying for government grants and using false information to con their way to relief funds. Finally, in overseas news, the Supreme Court in Venezuela has ousted the leaders of 2 key opposition parties ahead of parliamentary elections, which are expected later this year. The ruling parties are in the hands of politicians accused of being shadow allies of Mr. Maduro's Socialist Party. The move is likely to fuel fears that the president is tampering with the vote, which has not yet been formally scheduled in the crisis-hit country. The government has not commented on such. The upcoming elections will elect a new National Assembly, the only institution controlled by the opposition, led by Mr. Juan Guaido. And that was a look at your 12 noon news on the Street 919 FM, recapping the headlines. Monitoring of political conduct has begun. Religious groups seeking another tranche of COVID-19 relief. And in news overseas, Venezuela's Supreme Court ousts 2 opposition party leaders. Stay with us for more news on the Street 919 FM. We have a sports report coming up at 1 p.m. and a final major newscast coming up at 4 p.m. Stay with the Street 919 FM. The THA information update is up next.
Welcome to Info Update. In the headlines, a new historical site proposed in honor of the late A.N.R. Robinson. The Mason Hall Police Youth Club gives back. And Assistant Secretary of Health engages the differently abled.
Info Update. Informative,
insightful,
unfiltered.
The issues,
Topics and conversations that affect you. This is the THA's Daily Info Update.
And now for the details. We begin with news from representatives of the Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee. The group met with Chief Secretary, the Honorable Ansel Dennis, on Tuesday, June 16th, and it proposed the construction of a new historical site in honor of the late President A.N.R. Robinson. Chairman of the committee, Reginald Vidal, is suggesting that the gravesite of the late Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson be removed from the Scarborough Methodist Cemetery and memorialized at the Botanical Gardens. Mr. Vidal stated that A.N.R. Robinson's achievements and contributions to Trinidad and Tobago must be fittingly recognized.
A historical tourism site for the late President of the Republic, Mr. A.N.R. Robinson, should be removed from there to a spot in the Botanical Gardens where a proper structure can be erected to his memory.
Interregional transportation was also a topic of discussion. Mr. Vidal said that Tobago must innovate when it comes to tourism.
One of the things that I mentioned to him with the interregional transport is that he can look at a pilot project in having the ferry go to Grenada once or twice.
Trees and other goodies were presented to 5 families by the Mason Hall Police Youth Club on Friday, June 12th. The club's leader, Dexter Edwards, said, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, club members identified the families in their community who were really in need of assistance.
We did a careful background check in coming up with the 5 persons because we are aware that some persons would have gotten a lot of assistance along the way. So the 5 persons that we would have come up with their heads, and this is part of our way of giving back to the community and making our presence felt as a youth organization.
Most of the contributions made to the families came from the pockets of the members, with assistance from Jesus Christ Makes the Difference supermarket and well-wishers in the community. 2 of the recipients expressed their gratitude to the Police Youth Club.
I feel very happy to receive this hamper from the Mason Hall Police Youth Club, and I thank God for the people who put it together and give us this hamper. It will help us a long way for the children and for whosoever live in the household.
Very grateful, very, very grateful. I'd like to thank them very much. Totally. So this little hamper is a great help. It's very great help. That's one thing with them, the Mason Hall Police Club. They always try their best to help when they can. And that's good. And I hope that they keep it up.
Mr. Edwards indicated that coming out of the process, members have been re-energized and will now be making monthly contributions towards various projects ranging from education to construction within their community. We close with news of a visit to the Tobago Coordinating Committee for Persons with Disabilities, the TCCD, by Councillor Nadine Stewart Phillips, Assistant Secretary in the Division of Health, Wellness and Family Development. Mrs. Stewart Phillips met with the executive and members of the group recently and was updated on the accomplishments of the committee since its re-establishment in 2019, as well as their proposed plans for the rest of the year. The Assistant Secretary expressed a commitment to support the committee in all their endeavors and to work together with them to improve the lives of differently abled persons on the island. The TCCD is an amalgamation of differently abled organizations throughout Tobago. And that's it from all of us at the Department of Information. I'm Patricia Nicholson, and you've been listening to Info Update.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com.
All right, Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm back with you. It's already 10 past 12, and as you know, on a Wednesday, we try our best to have the youth in Youth Voice on the street 919 FM. So today, I think will be no different. We're going to continue that kind of programming and, that Youth Voice on the Street 919 FM. I was supposed to have 2 young ladies today, but I think because of the weather, I don't want to say because of the weather. I think they have an emergency. So there was a young man in studio who is going to try to fill in for them. I hope I hope that he does. Well, he can't fill in for the young ladies, but we see how it goes. But I'm seeing breaking news. Breaking news. On the Street 919 FM, we like to give you breaking news. So breaking news on the Street 919 FM is that the St. Anne's workers down tools today. St. Anne's workers down tools today, and I think they are now trying to say that they're heading down to the Diplomatic Center. So just give you a little taste quickly before I introduce my guest.
Hold on, ask her, at least inform her as to, give her an opportunity to treat with it. But just take it like that. Another instance, they take $35,000 and $45,000 customer staff, $45,000.
All right, so that is what is happening presently as we speak. St. Anne's workers making their way down to the Diplomatic Center. They're walking straight down to the Diplomatic Center. I'm seeing a good friend of mine, Mr. Oral Saunders, protesting with the PSA workers, which is very strange to me. Why? Because I always knew that Mr. Saunders wasn't, Mr. Saunders wasn't always a part of what's happening in the PSA. So again, I am very much surprised that Mr. Saunders is actually involved in this protest. But friend of my friend is mine. So not surprising at all. All right. So as I said to you, I have a young man in studio. He was here before, and he's here again. And we're going to be talking on youth, emphasis on youth vote, youth and current affairs, youth and issues that are happening. So again, as I said to you, just giving you some update. I'm seeing again where St. Anne's workers have dung tools. Breaking news as we speak. St. Anne's workers have dung tools and they're now marching down to the Diplomatic Center.
Water problems. So even the COVID thing, we were able to adjust because it's not something new to us. Now, I was wondering, where in the world again you would find a hospital with no water? I don't know if it's our next place. It probably have, but I don't know. And that is a real disgrace because nurses coming from real far, they can't get to tidy themselves to go back home. Patients can't bathe, flush toilets, nothing like that. And what I'm telling you here is it's not the norm is that you may get water a day. That's the norm. So what I'm telling you here, the norm is you're hardly getting water in the area. I don't know what is the cause. Many administrators have attempted to fix the matter, and so far, all prove futile. Another thing that is affecting staff is they lose trust in the employer, the Northwest United Authority, because they have witnessed where their colleagues who would have worked and while working, because they were permanent staff, they would be part of the pension plan.
All right, so yeah, you're keeping that, so you can keep in contact with the viewers and the listeners. And those of you who are joining us on Facebook, remember you can join us on Facebook. Just type in the Street 919 FM, the Street 919 FM. So that's your camera, sir, and you're going to be talking into that camera. And so we're going to get into the conversation right about now. So, all right, so I think I've heard enough of this gentleman and his ranting. All right, so let's get into it. Trinidad and Tobago, you talk here on the Street 919 FM.
Millennial youth, now is the time to let your voice be heard on current affairs and pressing issues in your country. Only on the Street 919 FM and Street TV. Call us now at 342-0081 or 466-5391. For overseas, call us at 7188 888-743860 or WhatsApp us at 771-1791. Millennial Youth.
Right, so back with you here. So good afternoon, sir.
Pastor Google, Trinidad and Tobago viewing and listening audience all the way around the world. Thank you for having me again.
Right, I think I need to pull the headphones because we can have feedback from the headphones into the microphone. Yeah. Right, so you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Right, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, man, you gotta do the radio thing when you're here, you know. You can't do the...
I mean, when it's nice, do it twice.
I hear you, sir. I hear you, sir. So tell me, you see what's happening? You heard the protest that's happening as we speak outside, well, heading to the Prime Minister's residence, the diplomatic center, and other issues that are surrounding the nurses. And what are your thoughts?
I think we have to be, as a nation, reasonable and responsible, measured in our response
to things. Talk in the microphone, yeah, let me make sure you're in the mic.
You hearing me better?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to be measured in our response to situations. I was following the issue of the nurses since day before yesterday in terms of their increments, and I have a few friends who are in the nursing profession who have complained that they haven't gotten the increments for the longest while. But the reality is, Pastor Google, we are in an economic situation where that COVID has exacerbated. Our national budget has been blown out of the water. What we thought we could have spent, we spent twice that.
Right.
And now where things are so uncertain, we have complaints of persons that are losing their jobs. People are still fighting for increases. We understand that everyone, it's earned money. It's things that have been worked for.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to be reasonable and ask ourselves, how can we give what we do have? I know up until day before yesterday, there would have been an offer to pay 25%. Then I heard it went up to 50%. And then this morning when I was going down to work, I heard that the Minister of Finance agreed to pay 100% of the increments to the nurses. Money, just like any resource, is not a bottomless pit. And we have to understand that if it is, we all want, either all of us get some, or some people get 100% and everybody else gets none. And that's the only caution that we really should use as a people, which is that we must be reasonable in what we expect the government to do right about now, because the government still has to invest in social services. We still have to pay public sector salaries. There are countries all around the world that have been cutting public sector expenditure. They have either reduced, just as we did in 1986, if I'm not mistaken, where all public servants took a salary cut. That's happening in other countries around the world. COVID has literally and must change the way we see our financial position as a country. And therefore, it requires a level of political maturity from trade union leaders, from persons on the opposition bench, to realize that COVID is not a PNM thing, it's not a disgovernment thing. It's an all of us thing. And as the Prime Minister rightfully says, we must all bear the burden of adjustment together. For me alone, whether or not the increase was paid right away, whether or not the increments were paid right away, the reality is the money sure to come. And I'm saying that I pray that the other trade unions do not use this opportunity and do not use the nurses getting through as a chance to make bacchanal and as a chance for everybody to strike. Because understanding Trinidadian culture, that might be the next thing to come.
I hear you. Well, I don't know. I think it may very well be the next thing to come, as you say, because people are, as we are aware, that people are very adamant, because they said it's money works for, it's money owed them, and they would like to have it back. They would like to have it. Now, I'm hearing from the worker who just would have spoken a while ago. He would have indicated that their protest is different, in the sense that they are not, I don't think they are protesting for money, but they're protesting for conditions, all right, that they are working under, and which is interesting, again, very interesting. So it's something that, it's new, it's something now in the front burner. And I don't know, you want to read that comment that just came up there from Guy?
Yeah, none of these nurses, teachers have lost their jobs, and as in other countries, the government may have no choice but to pander to their request. But when it's over, it will have to clamp down on these people having extra jobs affecting their substantive posts.
Right. Somebody else wrote something else that this young man is.
We could leave that one.
Read it.
There's an important one after.
You know what? Read this one. Read that one.
This young man is more mature than these public servants and UNC also, Duke. I do have court close disclaimer. I don't have any court close. These workers have to remember that the late George Chambers and said FET over back to 6% was offered but not accepted. The government changed 10%. The COLA removed and into the arms of the IMF. I wish them luck if they are not watching what is happening globally, because countries are interdependent. And this is a very important point. I heard an issue being raised with Caribbean Airlines and the cost of flights. I heard an issue in terms of oil and gas, but we need to understand the basic principles of economics is supply and demand. Right now, globally, the supply chain has been disrupted. Things are not business as usual. And where we as a country are accustomed making revenue via our exports, the demand for a number of our products have literally fallen to none. And therefore, the revenue that we would have been making, we can no longer expect to get. That is very important, because the government now must manage its expenditure very carefully. When Mr. Manning said tighten your belt, everybody was upset. But now COVID has brought us back to the point where we had to tighten we belt, tighten we bootstrap, and tighten we hat also. Trinidadians have to understand that this is not business as usual. And Legacy was very correct. In countries all the way around the world, the government is reducing public sector expenditure. They are adopting austerity measures similar to what the IMF does when the IMF comes in. And for the listeners, when the IMF comes into your country, the IMF is the lender of last resort. So what they do primarily is tell you, here what you see, all the social services, cut that. You see all the extra employees you have, cut that. You see all the inefficient state agencies, let's cut that. So if you have 1,000 members of staff, you only need 700, let's run with the skeleton 700. So when we're talking about job losses, when we're talking about the tough decisions that this government has made in terms of restructuring some state agencies, and some persons, of course, would have been caught in the middle of that restructuring, we need to understand that if we don't manage our finances now, if we don't manage our economic situation in the long term, it's going to be 10 times worse.
But your background is finance.
My background is industrial relations and human resource management.
Right, but you have a little finance too.
Well, my MBA is logistics and supply chain.
Right, so you have a little finance in here. When we hear the opposition leader talking about as a young person, when you hear the opposition leader talks about how much 500, 5,000, how much jobs she said?
50,000 jobs.
50,000 jobs. I can't remember sometimes, forgive me. But you have to come on the live, Trinidad and Tobago. To come on the live, just type in the Street 919 FM and join us on the live and be a part of the discussion. And yes, the young man we are very techno savvy in the studio here. So he has a tablet and he will be able to read your comments as they come in. So he can multitask. So this is their generation, this is their era. With the tablet, the phone. I show you multitask. I show you using his phone and all this stuff. So while I have to fight up with the WhatsApp and the calls and everything else, he and the Facebook. But he will deal with the Facebook and we will deal with everything else. But 50,000 jobs in a world where America has so much unemployed right now, and those are statistics that we could pull up too. So I would just want to say this to you: oil prices right now is at $37 a barrel, $37.94 a barrel, presently as we speak. Right? I just pulled that up.
And the projection was like $50 or $60.
Yeah. So we have very, very low. I want to find out. So I'm going to look for the unemployment rate in America, right? And the the opposition is seeing here presently that they can with the private sector involvement, they can produce.
Yeah, but Pastor Google, let us be rational here. And Trinidadians, we had to pick sense from nonsense. A recession is broadly defined as 2 or 3 periods of negative economic growth.
Make sure I'm talking in my guy.
Trinidad and Tobago in the last probably 2 periods had started to raise our heads out of that bleak economic position. Yeah? COVID has now come and shut the global economy out of the water. Even if it is back then when the leader of the opposition was bandying about the lofty idea of creating 50,000 jobs. But Pastor Google, the UNC way, it may have been possible, you know, because we would have created another live sport and we would have spent some money on that. I don't know if that's what we call in jobs, but that has never been the modus operandi of the PNM. Whenever jobs are created, those jobs are sustainable. Those jobs have links to the development and nation building. That has not been what we saw between 2010 to 2015. The reality is, in opposition, you have liberty to say a lot of things. The PNM government came in with so many plans and policies and projections. But when 2015 came and Dr. Rowley became Prime Minister and they got the update from the central bank, automatically those plans had to be readjusted because of the financial position. And I think it would be foolhardy of any Trinidadian to hold on to the idea that the UNC can provide 50,000 jobs. I don't know where the...
Well, they're saying that the 50,000 jobs will come with private sector involvement.
But private sector
and
involvement...
Then they also is saying that... what I'm trying to find the information for you, you know.
Yeah, but let's talk about private sector involvement.
You know what is the unemployment rate in America, right? You have an idea?
Not as of COVID.
After COVID, right? As for COVID right now.
Let me tell you. In this modern day and age.
Tell me what you come up with. I came up with a 5.7% of persons unemployed. I don't know. Maybe you can come up with a better figure. All right. I'm seeing 2.5 million persons unemployed in America right now. I don't know if that is true. All right. Total unemployed.
I'm seeing an average of about 13-14% of the American population is unemployed.
13.3%.
Yeah. 13 or 14% of the population unemployed.
That's in America. First world.
First world. What we call first world.
Well, yeah.
But as we say first world, we have to take the time to acknowledge also that Trinidad and Tobago, we are a small developing island state. And therefore, it is the average right-thinking man cannot compare apples and grapes. You have to compare apples and apples, grapes and grapes, oranges and oranges. To compare Trinidad and Tobago, and I can tell you that Trinidad and Tobago's unemployment rate, without even checking the exact data, is less than 13.3% of our population. I could nearly bet my entire salary on it.
You might lose it. We're going for a break and come back to Trinidad and Tobago. Join us on the live. Get in the conversation, and I promise you, the young man is going to read your messages when we come back. Don't touch your dial. Stick and stay right here on the Street 919 FM. We're going to encourage your calls also. So we're going to take your calls on 342-0081, 771-1791, and 466-539.
Let's talk on the street. The official station that defends the nation.
This Thursday, it's Pa Night on Iowa Stage, featuring...
Hey, what's the scene, everybody? My name is Joshua Regrello, and this Thursday, June 18th at 7 p.m., I'll be performing on Iowa Stage. So make sure and tune in, because we're going to hold a serious vibe. I go and get your real street band. So make sure and tune in this Thursday, June 18th, Iowa Stage, 7 p.m. We outside.
Streaming live on Instagram at Iowa George, Facebook Neil Iowa George, and YouTube Iowa TV. It's Iowa Stage.
With changes in operations due to COVID-19, over 10,000 TNTech customers have signed up to pay their bill online and receive bills by email. Commercial and residential customers, do business with TNTech online today. Sign up at www.ttec.co.tt/CWA.
Get interactive with the Street 919 FM.
All day, every day. See us all live on our Facebook page.
Share and comment on our show.
Like our page.
Chat with our live on-air announcers.
The Street 919's Facebook page.
Live and interactive all day, every day. The Street 919 FM.
Come talk with us.
This is Wayne Delamore, Head Consultant and Director of Natural Health Solution, with over 15 years of experience in clinical nutrition and microscopy. We specialize in early detection and prevention. We incorporate evidence-based nutrition and science-driven analysis. Tune in to our educational program every Wednesday right here on the Street 91.9 FM. For appointments, call 222-2189 or 304-5816. At Natural Health Solutions, we offer a natural solution to healthy living.
Join Wayne Delamore on Wednesdays from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. right here on the Street 919 FM.
Check the supermarket and buy a prepaid kit. Soon need to get help. Simply install yourself. Time for activation. WhatsApp with no hesitation. Get 15 days free and HBO for 50. Turn on DirecTV. Easy as. Get your prepaid TV. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Turn on DirecTV. Easy as. Get your prepaid TV. It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3 to get DirecTV prepaid. Buy your kit in store. WhatsApp 390-3288. Visit DirecTVCaribbean.com to activate. Turn on no drama TV with DirecTV.
Turn on DirecTV.
Wondering what's for lunch or dinner? Jenny's on the Boulevard has lots of specials for you from May 11th to May 23rd. Enjoy 10% discount for groups of 5 orders or more and pickup orders of $500 or more. 10% off with valid ID, police, army, and other emergency services. 20% off all government ministry orders. 30% off desserts. Grab and go mini assorted desserts, $60. 30% off beers and fruit drinks. Free delivery on orders over $300. 10% discount for orders over $500. Free delivery plus 10% discount for orders over $1,000. Choose from our famous Chinese-style express buffet, the American menu, burgers, ribs, and more. Italian menu, pasta, and more. Opening daily between the hours of 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Call us today at 625-1807, 395-3757, or 488-8800. Takeout, curbside pickup, or delivery available. Jenny's on the Boulevard for all your Chinese, American, and Italian needs.
Breakfast, set, go! Start with Milo, finish strong. Perform your best all day long. M-I-L-O, Milo. Breakfast, set, go, Milo. You want to raise a trophy, drinking Milo gets you ready. Fortify your mind and body. It starts with Milo. Start with Milo, finish strong. Perform your best all day long. M-I-L-O, Milo. Breakfast, set, go, Milo.
Start the day right with Milo. Fortified with Active Go for energy release and muscle function. Milo, the energy food drink of champions.
Enagic change your water, change your life. Enagic water purifier, one machine, 5 types of water. Enagic makes strong Kangen water with an 11.5 pH. Kangen water with 8.5 to 9.5 pH, healthy drinking and cooking water. Clean water with 7.0 pH. Beauty water for skin, hair, and plants with a 6.0 pH. Strong acid water with a 2.5 pH. This water is known to disinfect, kill viruses and bacteria. Listen to The Street 919 FM with Pastor Alkaline John every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to noon and every Wednesday from 8:05 p.m. to 9 p.m. as he talks to you weekly about how to improve your quality of life through purifying and drinking water. For more information, call or WhatsApp Pastor John at 516-286-7079.
Saturday on Iowa Stage, Bacchanal Radio and Gemini Production presents Soca Distancing. Let the Soca Heal You virtual concert this Saturday, June 20th, 6 p.m. till, featuring Patrice Roberts, Mr. Killer, Olatunji, Swappy, Hitman, Super Blue, Marsville, Nessa Preppy, Prince Swanee, Cassie, Adesh, Samaru, Jupiter, Trinidad Killer, Father Fox, Freeze, College Boy Jesse, Anil Bean, Rakesh, Yankaran, Himlata, Rishi, Chinese, and the RG Band, and the boss himself, Neil Iwa George. Plus, more artists to be added this Saturday. Streaming live on Iowa TV, YouTube, and Facebook, and BacchanalRadio.com. It's Soca Distancing this Saturday, June 20th, 6 p.m. till.
Talk your talk, but we don't talk. Come talk with us. The Street 919 FM.
Millennial youth, now is the time to let your voice be heard on current affairs and pressing issues in your country. Only on the Street 919 FM and Street TV. Call us now at 342-0081 or 466-5391. For overseas, call us at 7188-743860 or WhatsApp us at 771-1791. Millennial youth.
All right, John Tobago, we're back with you, and we want to remind you on Iowa Stage this Thursday. On Iowa Stage this Thursday is Pan Night. Pan Night, and it's with Mr. Regrello. Yeah, and I want to make sure that you hear something from Mr. Regrello. All right, Joshua Regrello. And that was Mr. Joshua Regrello. I hope that you enjoy that one. And you can find him here this Thursday on Iowa Stage. All right, so I'm back with you, Trinidad and Tobago. And as you know, I have a young guest in studio. You said that they didn't give your age. They said that you didn't say your name. They said that, they're sending messages now. And I am just the bearer of the news. So please give them your name, sir. And Tell them a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm 23 years old.
I thought you was 23 last time.
I'm 23, Pastor Gula. I'm going to remember.
See, in that last 2 weeks, you didn't grow up. Was your birthday?
I was 23 in April.
Oh, okay, so you're just 23 then.
Yeah, I'm now 23.
You're still a little baby, man.
I'm a product of QRC.
Yeah, you want QRC? QRC boy,
And the name is Dennis. Trinidad and Tobago, it's Dennis.
Okay, all right.
So, just before we went on the break, I was on bet you my salary.
Yeah, you lost? No,
I should have asked you to bet yours. Because according to the IMF, at the end of December 2019, our unemployment rate, Trinidad and Tobago, was projected to be at about 5%. The United States of America, the global superpower, the person with the orange man, has 13.3%. The ILO goes further to say that the regional, which is the Caribbean and the Americas, unemployment rate is approximately 8 or 9%, and that's as of the report of 2018. So let's just say we have our unemployment increase of about 2% because of economic decline. The region should be in the vicinity of 10-11%, which is still less than what the United States is currently reporting. So what we need to understand, and Legacy said it very clearly in these comments, that is a barrel of 6. And if you keep taking from the barrel, eventually you'll end up with 0. If it is we spend more money, and the Minister of Finance has done a masterful job in terms of managing our economy from 2015 to present. If it is we keep giving in every time somebody protests, and again, I am not saying that the cause of these persons are not justified. I am saying that we all must share the burden collectively of the adjustment necessary for our country to succeed coming out of COVID. Coming out of the global financial decline, we all must understand that it will affect us one way or the other. So when the nurses settle on increments, and I know the collective bargaining process for prisons, police, teachers, I know particular teachers are operating, and I believe 2013 salaries.
But wait. Didn't the UNC say that they would have paid increments and back pay and all
Well,
these
the
things?
UNC does say plenty things on Pastor Google.
No, I have to find that. And
the point is,
but it did say that Ms. Bissessa said that they
were going to settle negotiations.
Yeah.
And around that time is when they gave the additional $1,000 for all protective services.
No, but that was because they were kind of trying to make them comfortable.
Yeah, and to pacify. And again, but what I want us to recognize, and I don't want us to take for a moment that this is happening by chance or happening by mistake. Silly season. We are in silly season. The electioneering has started. Imagine the Minister of Finance had to come out outside of the house, outside of privilege, to correct misinformation being spread by the UNC. We have someone who is believed to be a UNC blogger openly spreading false information about the CEO of the NCRHA that had to come out and threaten legal action.
Yeah,
got an apology.
But even in today's Newsday, I'm seeing where the businessman is calling on political leader of the People's Empowerment Party, Mr. Philip Alexander, to either pull back his statements. You understand? Immediately remove what he said, about him on Facebook. So these are things that are happening, and as you said, it's silly season, and we're seeing where people are making statements. They're already, when we had the young lady who was here with us, what's her name again?
Anna,
who was here with us, and she would have shared with us that an ad went out asking for bloggers, they were looking for trolls, and you can see that they got, because when you look at what's happening presently on Facebook, you can know for sure that there were people who would have gotten the jobs.
Coming from somebody born in 1997, what I'm going to say is going to sound bad. But social media really and truly is becoming our collective downfall. Because we believe that when we get on social media and we get behind the computer screen and we get behind our phones, we have liberty to say anything that we want. And, we say, well, we have freedom of speech, but no right is absolute. And people must start to pay for their mouths and pay for their fingers.
Well, you know how much now I found out from a friend today. I wasn't aware that there was some gentleman on an internet radio using some statements about me. And a lawyer contacted me today, and he was saying to me, he said, Google, you have a case, and you can take them to court, and you can win close to $65 $1,000.
Yeah. I know a former chairman would have recently had to win a judgment against a radio station for not necessarily the announcer making the defamatory statement, you know.
A caller.
But a caller made it, and the announcer didn't stop it. And not only didn't stop it, he perpetuated it. And by their very action, the radio station was ordered to pay damages to that particular former chairman. And what's important is that people be vigilant now and understand that when you see something, before you share it, before you run with it, go and double check. Google search. Go to the relevant ministry to double check your facts. Because we need to understand between now and election, whenever it is called, as the Prime Minister said, before December, I assure you that a lot of what is going to come out into the public domain is going to be false information. The CEO of the NCRHA, as I understand, engaged his attorneys to take legal action. An apology was given, but we need to also recognize that sometimes when you say something about me, whether or not you think it does me any harm, the damage is already done. Especially to people holding senior portfolios and in public life, their name, their brand carries a value, and anything that we do to damage that value, we must be prepared to pay for it.
Well. So we are now looking at getting into a discussion about young people and their interest in politics and voting. The young people are losing interest into the politics of Trinidad and Tobago and voting. And it's interesting to hear how would you, or what, seeing that you are very much fond and you are very much aware of some of the young people's views where voting is concerned and politics is concerned, but what politically, what is the, because I can't ask you about the UNC, but I can ask you, what do you think the PNM is doing to try to get young people to get interested into the politics and into the into voting?
I think, let me start by saying, in another hat, in another capacity, I am a cadet officer assigned to Success Laventille. That is one of the communities that collectively we all as a society label as one where good things can't come from. I had an opportunity a while back to ask to be moved from that community because of where I work and because of where I live. It's a bit of a distance. But I chose to request to stay for the simple reason that we have given up on a lot of young people. And what we need to recognize is that the saying that young people are the future, the time for that is gone. Young people are the present. In 2010, our electorate stood at about 990,000 people. In the 2015 election, that went up to about 1.1 million people out of our 1.3 million population. The reality is that at a particular age, when you segment the population, when you get anywhere past 55 or 60 plus, you're going to get a segment of the population who will continue to vote the way they've been voting for basically their entire life. What we have to acknowledge is that the swing in any election now is that group of persons in every 5-year cycle or 3-year cycle in the local government case that are first-time voters. That additional 3,000 or 5,000 people, the average constituency at the central government level has about between 24 and 29,000 electors. What we see happening is an overall voting of about 60 to 70%. I can't tell you the last time, based on my recollection, of any time we got more than 70% voter turnout. What we know in particular is in those marginal seats like La Hakata, Talparo, Tunapuna. I have a few of them here. St. Joseph, Lupino, Bonne West. The margin between the total vote cast for one party and the other is nothing more than 10%. What does that say to us? It's instructive that the reality is we cannot say that an election is in the bag. We cannot say that I live in the local government, and I live in the electoral district of St. Augustine, South Piarco, St. Helena. I fall in the constituency of St. Augustine. I can't say, as a young person, as a person whose ancestors would have fought for the right for me to vote. Because we need to understand, again, we can't understand where we're going or the importance of what we have now if we don't understand the history of it. That brings me to the idea of the wanting to remove the statue of Columbus. And I hear both sides of that argument. I want to just sidetrack.
Go ahead.
I hear both sides of that argument. But the people who don't know their history are doomed to either one, repeat the same mistakes, or two, fall by the wayside. We are one of the few countries that don't have an appreciation for our history and anything, political history, sporting history, national history. As a society, we don't appreciate that. But when we go to other countries, we go to the White House. The White House is a symbol of American history. We must understand that we must place that same emphasis. And whilst our history may not be a bed of roses, our history makes us who we are. And from that perspective, we should not take the position that we must isolate, destroy, and remove those hurtful parts of our history, because that hurt contributes to who we are as a society today. Just as the good times, just as when we became a republic and they lowered the Union Jack and they raised our national flag, when we became an independent nation, that's one beautiful part of our history. So are we going to remove that monument from in front of the Red House? Just as we want to remove it, we understand that the history of Columbus and the way it's been told hasn't always been just. But what we must do now is correct that history now. We must tell the right story. And to tell the story, we must have a starting point, and that statue is the starting point. But going back to the issue of elections and our electoral history, what we see is that the margin of error for either party in those what I will call marginal seats, away from the safe seats, are about 10 to 11%. That 10 to 11% is made up of actually the young professional, the person who has just finished school, who's voting in their first election. And therefore, all parties now must focus their emphasis on attracting that part of the base. You have your over 60s who will vote in your favor regardless. So I know what I can say for the PNM, they've been, through its PR committee, they've been doing an excellent job in terms of now creating a message. I know when I was here 2 weeks ago, the PRO of the PNM was on the call, and coming out of that conversation that we had 2 Wednesdays ago, the PNM launched some virtual town hall meetings. The Honorable Nyan Gatsby Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, and the Honorable Terence Dial Singh, Minister of Health, this week gone would have had a virtual town hall meeting for their shared area. I know the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney and Minister of Social Development and Family Services, would have also started an initiative in terms of reporting to her constituents, local government are accustomed saying burgesses. And a number of the MPs, look, I can really commend MP Deputy Speaker Esmond Ford for having a very active and communicative Facebook presence.
All right, we're going for a break and come back. It's Minister One.
Talk your talk, but we know talk. Come talk with us.
The Street.
919 FM.